So hey guys, it's Zion again, and as promised, Battlefield 3. I'm gonna have to go and get some more footage here soon, because I'm running dangerously low. But I think it's time to get back into Battlefield 3, because as much as the game can bore me, I've taken a long enough break with Crysis and Call of Duty and KOTOR 2 that it should probably be fun again, at least for a little while. But of course, KOTOR 2 is the topic of the day, and this is going to be something of a free-balling commentary. I'm not going to have a specific topic, though I do want to talk a little bit about why I'm getting back into it now that I'm playing Call of Duty and shooters mostly. A brief history of me and KOTOR. When I got the original Xbox, it hadn't come out yet, obviously, but when it did come out, I got it immediately, and I loved the original. I must have played it 5 or 6 times through. And then I got KOTOR 2, which Obsidian did a better job than BioWare of making the game, but only because the core mechanics were set in stone by BioWare. And then I bought it on PC because I wanted to try out some mods, and I had KOTOR 1 on PC as well, and I did some mods for KOTOR 1, I got some special items, got some special armor and things like that. But again, I played KOTOR 2 a whole lot on Xbox and PC. It's one of those games that filled the hours for me before I had the addiction of the shooter to go along. And it was one of those games for me that something about it it clicked. Something about the message that Gario was trying to send, the betrayals of the game. The Sith Lords were cool, but not because they were cool looking, which they were, but because they were flawed characters. And especially Darth Sion, and Kreia to a lesser extent, Darth Nihilus less so. I mean, Sion is this person who is desperate for attention. He doesn't want power, he doesn't want glory, he wants to be loved at the end of the day. And that's no more apparent than at the end of the game when you fight him. And without getting into spoilers, at the end of the game, he says some really telling things about his situation. And the more I think about it, the more I think, wow, here's a Sith Lord who is he's evil and he hates weakness, but he's really just incredibly insecure. Mostly because Kreia completely dominates him. No matter how much he tries to kill her, she's difficult to kill, but she completely destroys him mentally. And then there's the Exile, who has this strength of will, who is this absolutely all-powerful character, but only because of what's happened to her is the canon. She's completely cut off from the Force, and you don't find out until late exactly why. And again, her character, while defined in large part by the player, is defined as well by the story that surrounds her past. And that last bit is what really is the core of the game, is how the past affects the future. How does what we've done change where we're going? And really, I'm only now starting to appreciate the depth and the care that Obsidian took to get these characters right. Now, you can say that the planets are a little lackluster, that they had to cut a few things, that maybe HK-47 didn't get the love he was supposed to, that the HK-50s were annoying, that the Sith Lord fights at the end were too easy, that the story sort of took a tailspin at the end because Obsidian was running out of time and money. But, all told, if you look at the work as a whole, which is how I look at anything, it is one of the most detailed and loved franchises Obsidian has. Now, having not played Alpha Protocol, I can't say one way or the other how that works, but I know that they took so much time and effort into getting KOTOR 2 right. And if I can hark on Darth Nihilus for a second, the guy on the box, the big, masked, black face guy, you don't learn much about him. He's sort of this faceless entity who can do unimaginable things with very little character definition, but then you get to the point where you understand that he is not in control of his own destiny. He is not his own master. He is a slave to his own abilities. And the fact that this person who is probably the most powerful character in the game, you find even though Kreia is pretty powerful herself, she can't do what Nihilus does. And I want to think it's because he's completely lost himself. He's no longer human. He's no longer able to think on any sort of level we can understand, and that's not because he's any sort of powerful, it's because he's become a slave to his own instincts. And the fact that this character who personifies evil is only personifying evil because of his weaknesses that's a beautiful dichotomy that I found and I find incredibly powerful. But back sort of to the topic, I took a break from KOTOR because shooters started coming out that I wanted to play. I started playing Call of Duty and Battlefield and yada yada, and I got better computers and better consoles, and I didn't need to play these games anymore. And I'm coming back to KOTOR 2 now, and I'm learning what I've described so far, but I'm learning also that a game from the old PC generations often has a lot more support from the community. Case in point, the mods. I know that I would still love KOTOR 2 if I played it stock. I know I would love it, and even though I know the story and I know everything about it. But the fact that there are these mods where I can add lightsabers, I can add saber stock, I can restore the missing content, I can add characters, I can add clothing, I can add whole new mechanics to this game. It's giving the game a freshness that I didn't have before. And while I'm still going through the game for the second time in about a week's time, I'm adding a little more every time. I'm adding some new content. Recently I added a whole bunch of sabers, a whole bunch of lightsaber hilts and lightsaber abilities. I'm probably, if I play it a third time, which may well happen because I love the game that much, I'm probably gonna add some new clothing. I mean, heck, I'm gonna put up a video pretty soon on the Top Tier Tactics channel doing a video compliment to an article that's going up. And I modded in the ability to wear Darth Nihilis's robes because he is the coolest looking Sith Lord I have ever seen. At the end of the game, the final Sith Lord is, she looks okay. Darth Sion is awesome looking, but if you wear Darth Sion's robes, you're really just wearing his skin, which is creepy because his skin is gray, cracking and falling off. But Darth Nihilus has this aesthetic about him that just, it clicks for me, and I love every bit of it. And plus, he has some really cool animations. But what's most important to me about KOTOR is that the modders have tried to maintain the aesthetic and the mechanic of the game in their mods. Yes, you can have one-hit kill lightsabers. Yes, Nihilis's robe gives me a whole bunch of bonus feats I wouldn't otherwise have. But it doesn't make the game unbeatable or too easy. It gives the game something it didn't have before. It gives the game novelty, which I needed and which the game sorely needs. And one of the most important things I think you can do as a gamer of any generation is once you've exhausted the game that defined your childhood, once you've played it into the ground, stop. Take a few years, maybe 5 or even 10. It's been a long time since I played KOTOR 2 all the way through. But take some time off. A long time. And then go back and look at what the game had that is missing in today's games. What did a AAA game in the past have that isn't present today? And I can almost guarantee you that the game that you go back to is not going to be boring. It's not going to be repetitive. You will see things as an adult, as an older person, as a person more wise in the ways of the world than you would before. And KOTOR 2 certainly has that for me. Not only am I seeing the foreshadowings, not only am I seeing this deep character development, not only am I seeing the power of certain choices that you make in game, I'm getting messages about life that the developers were putting into their game that I didn't see before simply because I didn't have the intelligence and the maturity to see it. I wasn't old enough. I hadn't seen enough of the world. I didn't know enough about how we are as humans to understand what it is for some of these messages to exist. And the same really goes for anything from your childhood. A Disney movie, a children's book, a movie you loved as a kid. Even if it's a crappy movie in actuality, there will be things in this piece of entertainment that you did not see before because you didn't have the context of the years that the author had when they were writing it. Heck, SpongeBob has some of the most adult humor I have ever seen. There is a George Carlin reference in SpongeBob SquarePants. And they use the word motherfucker. They use motherfucker, but they bleep it out with a dolphin, but you know that's what they said. And then they reference the 7 things you could never say. And I thought to myself at the time, well, I don't know what that's talking about. But then I heard about Carlin's 7 things. And I thought to myself, I cannot believe that they put those in a show for kids ages 6 to 10. Really. The humor is that adult for them that they have to put that in. And what it all comes down to, at least for me, is that these games are made for an age group. yes, KOTOR 2 was made for the teenage to young adult age group, but that doesn't mean that the people that were making it were young adults or teenagers. They were in their mid-20s, mid-30s, early 40s, sometimes their 50s. These are people who have seen a lot of the world, who have context for the messages they're sending that will probably go over the heads of the people who are playing the game, and they understand that. But it's okay for them because they have enough faith in their product that they know that people will probably come back and they will see with new eyes what these developers were trying to say. And so with KOTOR 2, I'm seeing all this new stuff, even without the mods. But the mod is bringing me freshness. It's bringing me new eyes on the game. It's bringing me what the game could have been, what the game will be when I add some new material to it. And it's giving me the ability to play it without having to say, oh, I'm doing this again. Oh, I'm doing this storyline. Oh, I'm talking to this character now. No, I mean, I'm taking the time to look around and find the items these modders have put in the game. And so I'm going back into this game not only with new eyes, but with a sense, a desire to explore more. And there's always more to find in the games from your childhood. So go looking for them.